All right, we are getting into the game now here. Clubhouse is underway. And Mandy, it's going to be a massive job for CYCLOPS to bring it back here on Scarz' own map pick after Scarz had such a dominant performance on map 1. For those watching Border, it was 6 of the last 7 rounds that went in Scarz' favor.
And yeah, that was a pretty exciting end to it as well. We felt like it was going to be a very back and forth affair, but then Scarz absolutely running away with the momentum are probably going to carry it into the second map as well. And they are going to be starting out here on the defense. Now, while we've been talking, the ban phase has flown by us, and it does seem like a lot of stuff has actually slipped through the ban phase, even though your Ying and your Blitz have been taken out. So, you know, you're cutting down on those more explosive type executes or mini executes or whatever you might want to use those disruptor operators for. You do still have all your supportive operators in, so all your hard breach, all your anti-wall denial, everything like that, that's going to be enabled to the attack. They have all the tools they need to sort of like cut that defense down from the outside in.
Yeah, very much so. It's funny, it's just the disruptors that have been banned out on the attack, right? The Blitz. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised to see a Blitz ban. That's a real commitment. Like, it's almost out of respect. But I guess we saw something similar where Scarz banned out the Monty on the first map. So, no, nothing too crazy. I'll say I'm a little bit surprised to see Pion's running the TCXG here. Not a lot of people run this slug shoddy when the Vector with the 1.5 is such a powerful beast at the moment.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised about that too. But alas, someone needs to construct the bomb site. I don't know if Tayo's got a shotgun on his own, but maybe Pion wants to make some holes. But oh, really nice entry there from Blackray. Just as we were speaking of Pion, he gets taken down pretty quick.
I gotta say, I'm so glad we spectated that, because that was sharp as anything. I don't know how all these Japanese players have such insane reaction times, but the mechanics have been phenomenal. Here comes Recto on the top floor. A C4 just too late. Hasn't realized that Akali has already crossed. Yeah, even though, as Blackray was traded back. But there is the cutoff from outside the storage window. Anderton takes down Rek, and this roam has really been picked apart.
This is pretty good from the attack so far. I think 3 defenders on a basement bomb site, it's not always what you want, right? Like, yes, it can still be hard to land and execute from this position, but it certainly makes it easier when there are not all 5 players down and playing those anchor positions. And Fishlike knows that. He knows that once that execute comes through, it is going to be a little more tricky for the defense to land it, and it's going to regress into the ground floor instead.
A lot of tools to work with on the attack, so I feel like the defense really here has to find a way to bring something back. And I think it's Fishlike looking to do that at the moment. He's in an aggressive position in Lounge. Quite an unfavored position at that, as he has been droned out. And he's now getting pushed from above. His impact goes out, but man, he is exposed to about 1 million lines of sight right now. How will he get away with his life? He's been droned once again. He has fallen back into a safer position. There's no way he'll get back to sight alive. He needs to take some fights here.
Han Wushoy is actually going to be on the ground floor with him as well. So the thing is, even if Fishlike does get taken down here, it kind of looks like he will be, right? There's like 3 people converging on his position, and the vertical is coming out too. Surely he's going to go down. But are they going to know that Wushoy's actually re-aggressed, and there's no way that Fishlike not only gets 1, but 2 for his troubles here in Bar?
Surely that's the round. How do you come back from that? Wushoy has been completely misdroned here, and as you said it, he will get the reply. Jibisu goes down after finding 1, finishing off what was left of that nasty roamer of Fishlike. All up to Suzu now. And he's got no exothermics left to play with. In a 1v2, but there is simply no time, and he's going to walk into some goo mines. Nothing he can do about it. He's going to have to run straight through the smoke. Pistol in hand, but Tayo from behind will lock in the first round for Scarz.
That was a crazy retake there from Fishlike and from Wushoy to go back up the main stairs while they still had the chance. Even though CYCLOPS had made the entry into the building, all their kills that they got were actually relatively external to the building, right? So they hadn't quite got their footing in just yet. That gave them enough space for the defense to actually get back into that ground floor. And I think CYCLOPS just not doing very detailed droning there, unfortunately, on the player of Fishlike, not really keeping tabs on him, and he landed the 2 crazy shots, even with such a little amount of HP. He made a big play there for the defense, and that was really all it needed for the round to be taken back for Scarz.
Yeah, it really doesn't take much, does it? I feel like CYCLOPS had such an advantageous position, and they had so much info, they droned so many times, but there was just a micro misalignment, and as we always say, Mandy, The devil is in the detail. It's all about the micro in this meta. And Scarz just have some of the most individually talented players when it comes to that micro decision making. Fish like when to move up into bar, when to take the 1v1s. And CYCLOPS will be punished for some very minute misalignments between their players. Like, it was absolute minutia that got that round for Scarz, but in the end, like, it looked easy because Fishlike went.
Right, well, here we go again. Because Scarz have one out in that basement, they are going to have to change up their bomb site, and we're going to go over to gym and bedroom instead. Now, the danger in these top floor bomb sites with the bans that have come out is that, like we said, all of your hard breaches on the cards, and your Thatcher, and your Mavericks on the cards. So surely all of the stuff that they want open is going to be open. So we've got not only the hard breach of the Thermite going in and doing the sweep from over in a cache, but we've also got the Ace who can start to make use of the jacuzzi wall, try and open up into bathroom. Whatever the attack might need, they're going to do a much easier job in cutting down these top floor bomb sites.
Well, already, as you said, the breaching game's been pretty straightforward. CAG now looking to move over and open up this jacuzzi wall. Thermite, Thatcher, Ace, it doesn't get much easier than that. Chibisu's also going to be hyper cautious with anyone peeking from Dirt Tunnel. He also gets just a mute jammer, so obviously you got the Thatcher to deal with that, but upside down will make things easy. The Lion, and potentially an entry here. Is this a bait? This, I think, is indeed a rush. CYCLOPS have gone straight on in. There's nobody here in bathroom, but the player in Master will hold down. And Scarz have seemingly made this work, as I say that. A good cut off from Akuli. But Pion is there for the refrag. And with that construction control once again for the defense, Tayo's found a second from inside Master. And Suzu has it all to do in a 1v3. With still half the round remaining, but not a lot of hope.
He does have the diffuser in his hands. There are two players over in con, so far he does have the bomb site control all to himself. I don't know where that third player is. Maybe he's trying to land that one inside of Logi, but there's no one there. They're really not giving him any of these gunfights. They just want to play together. It is actually the last player all the way off the bomb site. I think that's Washoy, just feeding info on those Valkyrie cameras. And yeah, really just so good from Scarz, playing the discipline game here, knowing that Suzu can make this comeback happen if he's given those bonds, but they're not going to give it to him.
A very smart play from Scarz, isn't it? They know when to dial it up, they know when to dial it down. Suzu planting, exposed to the hatch. There is information on the player downstairs. He tries to mask the sound of his drop. It hasn't been read, and he wins the fight against Washoy, a 1v2, and still time to play with. This is once again very doable. Great pre-placed drones from CAG, and another drone to go out. Spots the player top main. No flashes to work with. And the defense will prevail. Scarz just barely land that shot. Tayo, a 3k on the round, and Scarz still dominating on the defense.
Yeah, I think, look, a good job there from CYCLOPS to try and change up the tempo and go for a mid-round execute there onto Scarz. But I think Scarz were ready for that, right? I think ultimately they knew that the conditions for that entry were that the walls were going to be open pretty quick. So they actually had a lot of those defenders ready there for the push that came in through the breach as soon as it was open. And I think, unfortunately, for CYCLOPS, not that measured, I think, of an execute meant that they'd really funneled into the crossfires of Scarz. Even the sweep that tried to go in through that cache side, they really only sent in one player to actually enter in through the con breach. That was a Crully, and I don't think he quite realized that there were actually two players there on that side. And Pion was able to get the refrag there. All the space that Scarz needed was gifted to them after that. So I think that, yeah, Scarz ultimately just being ready for what CYCLOPS could bring there, and CYCLOPS not really measuring their attack too well.
It's a shame because, again, CYCLOPS have had good ideas, right, Mandy, but they just haven't been able to execute them. Scarz, I think, deserves so much of the credit here. It's not that CYCLOPS are making mistakes. Scarz are just ready for these rushes, ready for these plays. Ooh, that's a bit of a... I feel like that Valkyrie camera could have been slightly deeper, could have been slightly more well hidden, but Washo's got better things to do, so he's not going to bother replacing it. But Rek will go for a spawn pick. Here's a little fact for you. Ishlike loves that Solus, but it is gone. It is off the card, so instead he's going to have to move over. But he's got another gun that's just as powerful. He's got another operator that's just as impactful. And I do love that for Scarz. They've got a lot of versatility here, and they don't seem to be unhappy at all that the Solus has been banned.
So to the other top floor bomb site we go. They're going to choose not to go down to Baron Games, which I think is fair enough, especially with the attacker lineup that has gone through. But of course, for the attack, they do have all the cards open to them to get this wall open. So the Maverick trick is going to be on this wall just here for Anaton. Gonna do this nice and slowly, make sure that he gets every single corner of this wall. Of course, Maverick tricking does take a little bit of finesse, especially on Clubhouse, and that was pretty easy from him. Very nice, good stuff. That wall is going to be open. Now, of course, they don't quite have the range soft reach that they need to open this. Oh, unless Suzu's just going to use a Rotero for it instead. Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, if I was Chibisu, I would not be wanting to go up to that wall and putting my sledgehammer on it. That's not cool. So, yeah, Suzu can take care of that one. So that's a little bit of the checklist done here for Cyclops.
Yeah, not every day we get to see Flores picked on this bomb site, but it has its place for sure. Black Ray, though, he's got nades in pocket, and he is down underneath the bomb site. If he can get information, might be able to sink some of these players on site. Worried about cameras, though. They're also worried about being pushed, but it doesn't seem to be like there's much movement from Scarz yet.
Tough one now for CAG. They have realized that Scarz have actually given up this entire ground floor, but there's resistance over on the other side of this top floor instead. Washo is still holding on to top main, and Wreck as well inside of Con. Now, Washo can't really fall off from his position, because even if he goes down those main stairs, he might be cut off by Black Ray, who's also down in the ground floor, and yes, he's actually going to find that kill onto him. Meanwhile, though, Wreck on the other side is going to hold strong inside of Con, and will find one onto Anaton. That's the Maverick going down, so not really mission critical to the push that Cyclops are trying to do, but with the time ticking away, it is looking a little bit scary for the attack.
Yeah, especially if these picks just keep coming out of nowhere. Another big one. The Scarz, and another big one. How can you keep track of this? Cyclops, they're just dropping like flies before they can even start their push. The idea was to push the construction side and then open the cache wall, but how do you do that when there's one player left against 4?
I think you don't, is what Suzu's thinking. There's about 24 seconds left to do it, so I think this is just a good time for Cyclops to take a break, take a breather, and have a think, right? Like, nothing particularly wrong in the strategy that they were trying to do. I don't think at a macro level they were doing anything wrong. They're bringing along operators that are going to open their walls, get their tools done, but I think all it is just a little bit of a lack of caution for the attack of Cyclops. All the individual picks are just going the way of Scarz because they're like running into lines of sight, not really droning corners carefully enough. Like, you know, Wreck inside of Con should really not be able to get to from his position, just playing on the contour there and re-peeking over and over again, right? So I think for Cyclops, it's just a good opportunity here to cool down. Reset the momentum is a big one against Scarz, and actually be a little bit more detailed in the types of pushes that they're going for.
Yeah, they had about 35 seconds there to discuss, and as you put it, I think very aptly, cool down, cool off after what's been a bit of a feisty couple of rounds. But it seems like 35 seconds isn't enough. This looks like a tactical timeout as well. There's Cyclops. And on map 1, they took a tactical timeout and immediately won one round off the back of it, I think, if I recall correctly. Oh no, actually, I'm looking back at my notes, they actually took the tactical timeout just before match point, and then still lost the round.
Really? I don't... Really?
Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Maybe I wrote
No,
it wrong.
I feel like you remember that right, because you're way better at keeping track of those things than I do. These tactical timeout things, I do not track the conversions of them at all. This feels like a dev modder special, so I reckon you're right, but like, that surprises me a little bit, especially for Cyclops, right? It does feel like one of those teams that we have a lot of hope for. They have been at the top of Japan for quite a while now, right? Of course, now they are contested a little bit by Scarz, actually quite a lot by Scarz, who've got a very different approach to the game. But yeah, I don't know. It does surprise me that they can't quite come up with the right idea to take them down.
For me, sometimes it's just a playstyle thing. As you said, the macro should be there for the attack, right? There's no hard breaching banned. Like, no Thatcher, no Maverick, no hard breaching or hard breaching enablers banned. So the first step of Clubhouse, which is just opening so many of these obvious avenues, should be free. And yet, despite that, Scarz are dominating when it comes to forcing issues, forcing gunfights. Like in construction that round with Wreck getting a 2K, as you said. On this basement bomb site, it was Fish-like finding 2 huge kills. Despite being a numbers down before he did that, he made a huge impact for Scarz, and I think it was Washoy on the Bandit found one as well. It was very awkward for Cyclops to deal with this roam clear, and as a result, it looks like they might pivot some of their setup to try and hunt those roamers. So we've got the Dokubi brought in by Anaton, but he didn't live long last time he played it.
Right, so here we go. Back down onto the basement, and CAG re-mounting this to execute, like you're saying, this roam clear, rather. from the top down. This time, though, Scarz, they're playing a little bit differently, I think, in their positioning. Not only is Pion not actually sitting on that, not actually sitting inside of stock door, but he's gone all the way up to support his teammate in the top floor, and that's Rek. Inside of Garage, he's actually going to go all the way back up to the rafters, and CAG not actually there to capitalize. They do have info on his position, but no one there to actually entry onto him.
It's hard to even analyze this, Mandy. This is just Scarz having so much confidence, having good info, and trusting their gut on these peaks. CAG, like, they should have info on these positions, but nobody's got the guts to get in and take some fights. A second one now. Rek is on a tear. He's peeking everybody, and nobody will take him down. He's just killed 2 of the hard breaches as well. It's all up to the ace now to get all of this hard breach done on the basement bomb site, and there is so much work to be done yet for CYCLOPS.
This is unreal from Rek, man. He's just gone all the way back up inside of rafters. There's still no one there to cut him off. I think for CYCLOPS, just the roam cliff they went for way too ambitious. No one playing close enough together to actually go for the trade. Each of them actually feeding the one-to-one interactions, and even though there's a yellow ping onto Rek, yes, they can finally secure that kill, but far too little, far too late. Like you've said, their hard breach has gone down, and that's really going to cut down on their options as they come into this execute planning phase of the round.
Let's not forget, there's also all the Valkyrie cameras still at large for Rek to sit on and call out to his teammates. Washoy has actually managed to get all the way up top as well. He's got to rotate into Garage, which means he can get to rafters without vaulting and making any noise whatsoever. It looks like the cams have been hacked though, and there's information on that flank. Perfect from Anaton. This might be a possibility now for the attack to make this comeback. They also have now hacked all the cameras, and they still have 1 logic bomb left in pocket.
Yeah, so the curious decision for me is going to be where Acryli actually chooses hard breach. It does look like he's gotten the moto hatch open, I believe it is. Yeah, we're going to confirm that in a second, and yeah, the moto hatch is actually open. So it does look like they are shaping up to do a triple execute or an execute more based in around that moto position. That Goyo canister actually entering in from the motor door into church has been taken down as well. It's a potential avenue in for them, but it's just going to be about landing the remaining utility that they have. They don't really have flashbangs to enable this, they just have to funnel.
Yeah, and the Vulcan canisters have detonated, the smokes have been deployed. Tayo still has 1 in pocket to work with, and CYCLOPS must push into the Inferno 1 by 1. They will try their darndest, but they will do nothing as a result. Scarz dominate there in the late round after the valiant efforts of the Roamers. The Anchors can mop up the rest.
Yeah, I think like you said, it was on the efforts of the Roamers. They pretty much won it out within the first 30 seconds of the round. It was Rek we were on board with that denied not only 1 but 2 points of entry and took down that pivotal player of Suzu, who was the Thermite and was going to open up that mid-round for CAG. After that, it just felt like it was an impossible situation. There was nothing that they could do to initiate their remaining players to get into the bomb site, especially when you're facing a Goyo and a smoke on the other side that's going to zone you out from making your way in, right? So I think, yeah, 30 seconds and that round was essentially over. We did watch it play out, of course. It was a done deal for Scarz.
Guess what, Mandy? That's 2 for 2 now. The CYCLOPS have taken a tactical timeout, and Scarz have slapped them back down. Not a good look here for CYCLOPS. This is dominant. And I'm going to embellish a little bit here, Mandy.
Okay, okay.
A little bit.
I'm listening.
10 of the last 11 rounds in this BO5 have been won by Scarz.
What? Oh, yeah, of course, because we're counting map 1, and map 1 was pretty much won by Scarz since round 3.
That's it. Yeah, we were 6 out of 7 on map 1, and now we're 10 out of 11. I'm just going to keep saying that. Every time we get a bigger number, I'm going to keep on saying it. When will CYCLOPS actually start fighting back? Also, what's more here, Mandy? How crazy is it? We're on Scarz's map pick, which guess what means CYCLOPS get to pick starting sides. They've started on attack and have found nothing for it.
That's really strange. I can't believe we hadn't spoken about that as well. It is really odd that CYCLOPS on the side pick have actually chosen to do the attack first. Curious one
Lulling
for me.
Scarz into a false sense of security?
Yeah.
That's copium speaking.
Copium. And perhaps overthinky, maybe. But I don't know. Look, I'm sure that they have their reasons that we don't know. Often these guys know things that we don't. We are only measly commentators. We don't really know anything. Anyway. Here goes Black Ray on his lurk, down in from Strip Club. It is barricaded off, of course, so the moment that he makes noise, his position will be made known to 2 of those roamers there on the ground floor. Meanwhile, for the rest of CAG, they are going to try and make this map sweep work all the way from Cash.
Very slow and sure here from CAG. There is a roamer just around the corner here, and he gets spotted. Black Ray now has to deal with that, but of course the roamer can simply move. So no real cutoff there. Dishlike is allowed to fall back. Washo somehow gets a kill with the Deagle. I would love to know what happened there.
So I think our Cully was trying to do the main stairs cutoff, yeah? But he didn't actually land it? And then Washoy went and peeked him, and then he died outside of kitchen. Something.
Oh, did he run out the freezer door from kitchen?
I don't know, but he
Why
died.
would he have the... He didn't use his impact to do it. Why would he have the...
Yeah, mate, I have absolutely no idea. But anyway, here's Black Ray. He's going to use his own intel to try and catch up Washoy. But Washoy is gone. He's all the way down in the basement. Yeah, he was gone yonks ago. Yes.
What are Cyclops doing? They're trying to play the 2019 siege at the moment. They're like 4 years behind Scarz. Scarz are always... We said on map 1, Scarz are half a step ahead. They're like 12 years ahead.
Oh god. Alright, fair enough. The problem here with Black Ray's lurk is that he is using his own intel, so it is a bit disconnected from the gunfight. He's actually trying to take... Okay, but anyway, Washoy gets a bit confident and pushes into him. Now with 36 seconds left to go, they are going to try and make this execute work all the way from the jacuzzi wall.
Oh, it's a good flash though. Has it been caught? No. Will Arcanaton check the angle? He doesn't! Oh, disastrous! Suzu once again must clutch up, but he's found 2 big kills. Pion and Rek now try and hold off, and Suzu's got good information. But so can be said for the defense as well. Round in the corners, Free Fire comes out. He might find this one, but Rek is good for it. And Scarz have gone 5 rounds in a row on their defense.
Yeah, and I think Scar's really pulling ahead in the macro game now. In Border, there were some rounds that seemed really close and some rounds that felt like Cyclops were in on it and they had good ideas, but here inside of Clubhouse, I think the story is completely different. Everything that Scarz are doing is good, and everything that Cyclops is doing, it just doesn't really seem to even put a dent into the defense of Scarz at all. I think a big point there for Black Ray was like, yes, he was there on his lurk, but ultimately it was a 2 versus 1. I think Scarz had the read on that, right? They had one player there that immediately met his resistance, and even then another one for the refrag, and I think ultimately Black Ray was essentially putting himself in a losing situation there. Not just that, but it didn't really feel like any of his teammates had made work of the rest of the building either. Even with the lack of anchors on the bomb site, of course 2 of them were off roaming. They didn't quite execute onto the bomb site. It just wasn't that calculated. So I think for Scarz, they don't need to do much, you know? They don't need to do much in this series so far to actually beat out Cyclops. All they need to do is just do their default stuff and play their role well.
For Scarz, it definitely feels like keeping things simple is the way to win it out. Cyclops are quite... I feel like they're tilted, to be honest. They've left floundering round by round. Every moment that something could go right for Cyclops, Scarz snatch it away. And the goal to spawn pick now again for Scarz in a grand final, for goodness sake. But Rek has been landing these shots. I would back him in to win it.
Confidence now for Scarz is the name of the game, as they are challenging early onto the entry of Cyclops. Gypsy's even going to send in a nade. Okay, that's just going to be to take down the castle barricade. Something we haven't spoken about yet is that the bomb site is bar and stage, finally. So we are going to see a ground floor bomb site, often never played, but can be a tertiary bomb site for Scarz. They're going to make their attempt on this 5 rounds up. Why not? Just give it a go. I think someone in the kitchen's just been misdroned as well. Oh, Black Ray, mate. Not like this.
Surely not. Pion seems pretty confident that the drone went right past him. And Black Ray's not going to enter yet. So it looks like Cyclops are playing very passively, which is good for now, I guess. But we're going to approach the end of the round, and they're not going to have anything to show for it.
Yep, I think that's exactly right. The problem with playing passive is that you've got to get value out of it, and that's if you're going to read into the aggression of your defense. But the thing that Scarz are good at is playing the disciplined game once they realize that something's going wrong. And yeah, like you're saying, this is so strange from CAG. They're scared of a presence that's not really there.
And there's no info. I mean, Arkuli has finally taken down Washoy, which was that player in strip. He also has seemingly information that there's one in kitchen as well. Black Ray separated from the player on the other side by a castle barricade. Just right on the other side of each other. but no way to interact as of yet. Whoever makes the first move and tries to break that castle barricade will likely lose the fight. Wreck downstairs at the bottom of main. CYCLOPS now have some decent map control. Fishlike doesn't have his hatch open. And Pyon manages a flank. That must have been an 8-hit castle barricade. He's gone and taken down that player in his hallway. And now Suzu gets desperate and will try to force down the plan. He is denied. And Scarz are bringing this one back. CYCLOPS have got into the site, but it's Scarz who seemingly have the last laugh.
Yeah, and Tayo from the other side of the map inside of stock is going to go for that backstab onto the attack too. Thankfully, Anaton can take him down, so it does leave it in a 1-on-2, slightly more winnable. Pyon, though, is not going to give away his life. The diffuser to be picked up, and so will his teammate. So we're back to a 2-on-2, but with only 25 seconds left to go and not that much info, it's looking tough for the attack.
Suzu forcing down that plan, but Anaton, he has saved CYCLOPS this round. Fishlike must clutch in the 1v2. He has been completely flashed out of his position. SMG-11 in hand, he needs to take these two 1v1s. Shotgun comes out, walking straight into a dead crossfire. He needs these 2 kills, doesn't land the shot, eventually gets Suzu. And he's got information here, the red pings are coming out. All he needs to do is land the shot, but Anaton clutches the round for CYCLOPS. A huge moment for Annie as he has saved CAG and finally broken this streak from Scarz.
Yeah, close one there from CAG. I think they did a good job in realizing the path of least resistance was in through that strip side of the map. Even though they were so paranoid about it, they eventually injected the one player that they needed to get in there and actually make a room on the bomb site. The only thing that they had to do after that was just make sure that they couldn't be killed from the vertical. And even though Fishlike did end up getting one, I think ultimately the overwhelming presence there from the attack made them win out in the trades. And yeah, it did come down pretty close. Fishlike almost winning out on that 2 versus 1, but I think CYCLOPS did what they needed in the post there. So well done from them to finally claim the first round, but still a close one, you know. I wouldn't say that just off the back of that round that the momentum has then swung their way, but of course they will go over onto the defense, so perhaps they'll find some better luck.
Yeah, perhaps. I'd hope so. They will need to. They'll need 5 rounds of luck, Mandy.
Located by attackers.
I don't know. If they don't go flawless here, then overtime's guaranteed. Scarz have afforded themselves just such a luxurious advantage moving into their attacking side. I don't think they'll be worried at all. They have quite a bit of flexibility here. But
5 seconds left.
Keep swinging, right? Keep the momentum going. Start of the half. See where you can take it. Looks like a roam game from CAG. The castle in tow. But Scarz seem completely unfaltered.
Yeah, and here we go. This is Scar's attempts now at the same roam clear that CAG was so cautious on when they were on their attacking path. Black Ray is going to be the first point of contest over in Garage, but decides to fall off that pretty quickly. Drones are being sent out though inside of the ground floor, so plenty of info so far for Scarz. Seeing that the defense has actually fallen back, they're going to make quick work of the map, immediately opening up that ground floor. Washoy can get his way inside a kitchen, and actually the mid-round is going to be on pretty quick for the attack.
Believe it or not, Scarz seem to be benefiting massively from the lack of solace with that pre-placed camera on the speaker in bar. They know that there's actually not really much of a threat here. These roamers have fallen back quite substantially. CAG seem almost scared to take fights, and Scarz waste absolutely no time lapping up that information, stealing away the map control.
Yeah, so the next point for Scarz that they'll have to face is then this push down the stairs, actually translating it from the ground floor into the basement. There is info here for Rex. Somehow there is a camera inside of Blue that's been placed out. He's going to burn that first Wamai disc with a grenade and not quite land the shots that he needs. A second one, unfortunately, being sent out there is going to catch out that grenade as well. So far, Crawley's going to get away with his life.
And in fact, it is CAG who find the opening kill. Akali has, however, been traded back. Now Rek moves his way into Blue. This is a great advantage now, but his position is spotted and he is taken down by Suzu. Very low HP. He tries to pick Chibisu up. Up to Fishlike and Pyon now. Fish has a great position and he's going deep on it. There's 2 players low HP. He gets them both! Oh, Fishlike! He's slipped behind enemy lines and he's stolen the bomb site away. Pyon now to try and support his teammate as Anaton has been gifted an opportunity to forge a crossfire with his only remaining teammate. Pyon will force down that diffuser and Fishlike caught out completely. Pyon now must clutch in the 1v2. as he moves his way down to the main stairs. Anaton quickly peeking at Anaton is so mechanically gifted. But Pyon knows he has to take this one. He cannot afford to let it become a crossfire. He gets the first. Blackray now in the 1v1 to stave off match point. He just needs to pre-fire. The headshot has been landed. And CAG stay alive for yet another round here on Clubhouse.
Alright, it's finally starting to come back there for CAG. Another close round, but they do finally get their way in a second 1 versus 1 for them. Really nice play there from Fishlike to actually try and make that work in the 2 versus 2 on 4, but in the end, it didn't quite work out. Unfortunately for Pyon, not quite having the read on the player that actually wrapped around. That was Anaton all the way from long into short and actually put the attack sort of sandwiched between the remaining 2 defenders. I think they're from CAG doing what they need to do to get proactive later on in the round, meant that they could finally convert that one.
Yeah, wow. CAG have finally fought back. They got 2 rounds straight now. However, Mandy, both of them were on the back of 1v1s. That's not a great sign. This game could very well be over right now. Scarz could have won those 2-1s. We'd be looking at a 7-0, moving on to Bank. But instead, CYCLOPS, they've hung on by a mere thread. Not even a thread, like, I don't know, what's the subdivision of a thread? Like one electron of the atom. That's how much CYCLOPS are hanging on at the moment.
Getting real nerdy about that one, and yeah, I hadn't even considered that eventuality. If those 1 versus 1s hadn't gone their way, it would be a 7-0, which is a pretty damning scoreline, but, you know, that's not the universe that we live in, and CYCLOPS, like we were saying in map 1, you can't count them out just yet. All 10 of these players are very proficient in the server, and can make comebacks like that happen. So here we go. Onto CYCLOPS on their 3rd defending round. Maybe defense was the medicine that they needed to start getting active in the server, and it seems like it so far. Scarz are going to look for this multifaceted push across the map. Not only are they putting pressure over on the Jacuzzi side, but also on the Cash side, and they're going to leave it up to opportunity to see what's best for them.
Just Scarz now, what are you thinking about the last 2 rounds? Of course, you want to focus up on what's now, but sometimes you need to reflect in order to figure out how to adapt and how to change your plans. But they've just had 2 attacks that were very nearly perfect. 1v1s that only just slipped away from them. Seems like they're not going to dwell too much on that at all. Got a bit of a lurk up the main stairs from Nock. That's a beautiful peek there from Blackray. Fishlike caught out. That's the top fragger from Scarz. Eliminated early on, but Rek has snuck his way into the site. Straight up the main stairs. Finds Annie. Straight past some goo mines. Washoy, meanwhile, has also dropped into sight. He is traded back. And Chibisu has brought things back here for CYCLOPS. Tayo has reclaimed that position. This is a very awkward round.
Very, very strange. Scarz have sort of sandwiched out the defense at the moment. Tayo is the one that's going to be playing in that cutoff position, but Rek is going to initiate the execute. In he goes inside of Master, just rounding the corner now as a player in bathroom and a player in gym.
Oh no! The timing, it's not there for the Azami, but the trade comes through quickly from Pyon. There's still a player in bathroom around the corner from him. Flashbang gets caught out. Tayo's found one. Arkuli is down, and Blackray, he opened up the round for his team. Now he remains the last man standing. Tayo and Pyon separated. Tayo reclaims Diffuser. Blackray moving up. Surely the sound has been heard. He's been droned. He's right on the round the corner. He spots out Pyon for a brief moment. Shotgun comes out, but he can't even land the bullets needed. Tayo has secured map point here for Scarz on the back of yet another explosive round for Scarz. One more, and they have map 2 in the bag.
Really interesting style of attack there for Scarz as well, just threading their players through the needle of the defense. It just felt like it was such a strange position for all the attackers to actually be inside of the building. Rek was the first one who managed to find some crazy space up the main stairs to kick things all off. But then Tayo, in his position inside of Logi, was I think really what sealed the deal there for attack and actually enabled them to walk in onto the bomb site, right? As soon as Tayo was inside of Logi, he realized that he had 2 players on lock that could not rotate back into the safety of their teammates, and the rest of Scarz were able to capitalize off of that, right? So I think for Scarz showing us that they are a very opportunistic team in that attack, and even when they are surrounded by the danger of their enemies, if they can find a pocket of safety, they'll take it.
CAG might have had a brief moment of respite with the last 2 rounds they managed to bring. together on Clubhouse, but now they will need 4 defenses in succession. And I just simply do not think it's possible. Cyclops have been all right, but
Yeah.
they simply cannot touch Scarz. This Scarz team is on another level. This is, I think, a new moment for them in their careers. It was about a year ago that Scarz started to become the best team in Japan. They started to take that mantle away from Cyclops, and there have been brief moments since then that Cyclops have brought it back. The Japan Invitational earlier this year, CAG, knocked Scarz out of the tournament. But it looks like
And
the
I think-
inverse may well happen here.
Yeah, and I was going to say, just looking at the tone as well of these two teams, it's so different, right? When Cyclops were on their attack, there was so much caution. They were so paranoid about, like, literally everything that Scarz were doing. They were spraying down windows and walls that there was no players on the other side on, right? Like, they were droning things out. They were double droning, triple droning things out by the time it came out to that late part of their attacking half, right? Whereas for Scarz, even if they are surrounded by defenders, if there's a room that's free, they're like, yeah, okay, we're going to be there. Right, and I think that's such a difference in confidence between these two teams. And so as we mount up to what is potentially the final attack, it's looking pretty good for this roster.
That's right, Scarz remain unafraid. They will happily take risks. They've made the calculations and they will easily make those split-second decisions because there is no fear. Cyclops, on the other hand, holding on to this bomb site is no easy feat. Cache CCTV. It's a good setup from them. The Azami and Rafters is certainly hard to dislodge. This extension onto the master side is yet to be fully pressured. But when you're playing against Scarz, silence is never a good sign. And Akali is baited into walking into Rek's line of sight. An attempt at a refrag, but Rek will fall back here, and Scarz maintain their numbers advantage.
Bisu in down below, we're still going to be holding on to Garage, so anticipating that there is a player ready to pounce on the outside. That's Fishlike who's just going to send in his drone. But that's not really the main point of push here for Scarz, is it? They've got really players all over the map trying to find as much space as they can. Not only are they putting the pressure on the players on the bomb site, but at the same time they're doing the sweep across the map from inside of Con as well. So that's Rek and Washoy. They're going to double down on their positions. Rek has even gotten space down below to play the grenades.
Tayo and Black Ray have traded. That is a win for the attack, no doubt about it, as numbers are once again falling one by one. CAG, lucky to have survived that nade, is the player up above in cash. Rek now out of grenades. Running out of time, he runs out of life as Chibisu goes down below, but he must now promptly get back upstairs again, and he will be taken down. Washoy, the man of the hour, once again steps up for Scarz as Suzu C is left with it all to do. Flashbangs impede his march forward, and Scarz in the 3v1 will handily secure a second map in the grand final. Cyclops on the ropes as Scarz dominate for a second map in a row.
And confidence flowing through their veins with yet another, even more dominant scoreline on map 2. Not only are they going to take away Cyclops' map pick, but they're going to win out their own as well, and a very clean game. It didn't look like Cyclops had an in on that game whatsoever. Scarz well and truly ahead of the competition here in Japan.
There's no two ways